up her website. You can Wikipedia her. You can type her name in. Is she Van Fleet? It's XI Van Fleet. Listen to this, and then we're gonna let her rip. Okay, she's gonna say whatever she wanna say. It says Miss Fleet lived through the horrors of the Chinese Cultural Revolution as a schoolgirl, forced to the countryside with her other young Chinese for re-education after high school. She later escaped communism and found freedom and a new life in America. But more than 30 years later, Miss Fleet disturbingly sees signs of the same cultural Marxism that ravaged her birth country of China, threatening to destroy the America she now calls home. Her mission is devoted to the mission to educate Americans of the horror of communism and Chinese Cultural Revolution and the threat of Marxist ideology to America. Only when Americans learn about the real history can they wake to the realization that history is repeating itself. So her website is vanfleet.com. Dave, bring it on. How are you doing?
Okay, thank you so much for inviting me to your show.
I thank Stan, and I thank you for even agreeing to come on. I did not know you was in Gwinnett County, and you opened up a Trump rally down here, and he's retweeted you a lot because of what you have seen, experienced. So I'm going to allow you to have this whole entire segment to educate us. We know, we heard some rumors. We're looking at our society today. We see the Marxism, we see the communism, we see everything happening. I want you to break it down to a simple term, not only where I learned what to look out for everybody else that is in the chat rooms. What made you run away and leave your home, escape from China, and then what really makes you be out there on the forefront and you being so public with your story?
Well, that's a long story. I grew up and I was born and grew up in China, and I spent my first 26 years. And for the longest time, I have no idea what was it like outside China, outside that open air prison, which is huge. That is entire China, because everything was controlled and information was controlled. I thought, well, because we were taught by the party that we were the luckiest kids in the world because we live in China, and we have a party that care for us, and so we're just so lucky. And I thought we were lucky. I had no idea, I because I have nothing to compare with. So so that was indoctrination by controlling the information. So when I was 7, that's when the Cultural Revolution started, and I knew something was not right because it's like a storm. It's like a hurricane that just swept through the nation. And as a little girl, I was in the first grade. School was closed. Why it was closed? Because the kids were asked to rebel against authorities. And who were authorities to kids? Were teachers, right? Principals. So they were the kids. Even though just elementary school, they ousted the teachers and the principals. There was no school. School was closed. So I missed 2 years of schooling during the Cultural Revolution. By the time I came back, I was a 4th grader. And then, everyone thought it was just normal. We just become 4th graders and started as first. Now I was 4th. And so even then, I did not question anything. I think anything that happened to us is just because it's party's plan. It's all correct. And I never questioned. I could not think. I could not question anything until much later. So when I graduated from high school, and by then it was well into the Cultural Revolution, everything was destroyed by the young people. They have a name. It's called the Red Guards. And today we have something similar in America. Those are the Black Lives Matter activists and Antifa, and then pro-Hamas social justice warriors. The same thing, different name, but the same thing. So they destroyed everything, and there's no jobs, there's no nothing. So we all were sent to the countryside. And the word countryside probably did not mean much to Americans. Countryside then, it was really means gulag. We were sent to work in the fields with the peasants under primitive condition. I was only 16, and so I worked in the field for 3 years until Mao's death. And when things gradually come back to some kind of a normalcy, and I was able to go to college. And so when I was 26, I was able to get a scholarship with the help of American friend
So let
to
me
come to
ask you
study.
something. You said that the Red Guards are the Red Guards. Did they tell on you to make you go back and have to go to the countryside? Was they just rounding any youth up to retrain them or the way they was thinking? So did the Red Guards go in there and snatch y'all up and take y'all to the countryside? So was
No, 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 no. That's a very good question. The Red Guards were used by Mao to create the chaos, to take out the Mao's political opponent from a position of power. So they did all that. They destroyed the cancel culture and everything. They destroyed China and achieved Mao's goal. So what you do with those unruling youth, and so they're called useful idiots, right? So Mao got rid of them. Mao killed some of them and sent the rest to the countryside.
and
And that's the
because
beginning
and
of
because
this
you
camp.
was young and they put you he lumped you in that group so you wouldn't get any
Yeah.
ideas to even think about turning on his policies, and that's why
Oh,
he sent
no,
you.
no, no.
Wow.
You don't ever even question. So the Red Guards were the first group sent to the gulags to get their re-education, and it's basically forced labor. And by the time I was graduated from high school, there's nothing for us because everything was destroyed. There's no jobs. Then there are just so many youths. What you do? You don't want them to be in the city to create problems. You get rid of them, and that's what the BMMers, the Antifa,
Yes.
and those social justice warriors. They have no idea. The same thing will happen to them. They are useful for now because they are useful by the I call it communist
Mm-hmm.
Democrats to create the chaos. And once they are in power, they don't want chaos. Once they're in power, they'll get rid of them, just like what Mao did. He got rid of the Red Guards.
Well, if you
So,
really think about it, when Democrats was in power 4 years ago, a lot of the Black Lives Matter and Antifa and stuff, that rioting really didn't happen as much as because they didn't want to be pinpointed on them. Now, when you
and they did not have power.
they
See,
didn't.
there is a problem with a lot of the Black Lives Matter chapters. We were forgotten. Of course, you were forgotten. You were never meant to be sharing power with the Democrats. You are just useful idiots. And if the communist Democrats are in total control of power, they will get rid of everybody that now they use and push to create chaos. Those rioters, looters, they will all go to gulags.
Ooh. So what after you got out and you got out of the gulags? When did you come to America? What really made you escape and want to come over here to experience
Yeah,
this?
yeah. Of course, by then the information started to come in, and so I don't know how about your audience know that Trump just shut down Voice of America. Do you know that?
No, what?
Yeah, Voice of America is a American institution that many Americans are not aware of. It is a broadcast service funded by the government. And what they did during the Cold War was to get the information out to the countries, such as the communist countries, such as Soviet Union and China. And I used to listen to Voice of America every day when it was allowed. Before, if you were caught, listen to Voice of America, you will be in prison. Some were executed.
Wow.
Okay, so by the time after Mao's death, I was able to listen to Voice of America and learn about the world outside China. And then, only then, I said, we were the unluckiest kids in the world because we live in prison and we did not even know about it. So what I'm trying to say is information is so important.
Yes.
Once I know the truth, I want to come out. And I want to go to one country specifically, that's America. And so my dream came true when I was 26, and I was able to come here in 1986. And I have to tell this story to you, and so your
Mm-hmm.
audience understand that I thought that when I came to America, I left communism behind me. And my life will be just happy ever after. I don't have to worry about communism. I don't have to worry about censorship and all the stuff that I lived through. As you and 26 years in China, I thought I came to the land of free and everything would be just okay.
Supposed to
And
be.
freedom was just a given. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of people still thought so. And the so-called democracy will just always be there. Well, I paid no attention to politics. And I just focused on achieving my American dream. Getting a degree, getting a job, get married, and have family, and get a house, and all that thing. And I had all of those things. And until little by little, I started to notice things that remind me of the Chinese Cultural Revolution.
When did you
Started
start
with
seeing it?
political
What?
correctness.
When did you start? When did it really hit your radar? Was it in the 90s? Was it like the?
90s,
It was in the.
90s, yeah. And it's just a political correctness. And I did not even think much about it. And because in the beginning, if you remember, the political correctness sounds kind of nice. Just want us to be nice to
Mm-hmm.
each other. Now that is a keyword, nice. It's not about nice, it's about control. So at first I thought, okay, yeah, you ask us not to say this, but say that. Okay, that's not going to hurt anything. I want to be nice, and I really want to be kind, and all those words, right? Yeah. So, but soon I noticed, no, no, it's not. It's not about being nice and being kind because they keep changing the rules.
Yep.
Today, this word is correct. Tomorrow, this word is not. It's something new. So it's all about control. And at work, I noticed that if you don't use the new approved word, you will be considered a problem, right? You'll be
Yep.
considered that you are not progressive. Then you are against. And then by then, we already know there's such a thing as marginalized people and whatever. It's in the 90s,
In the
in the
90s.
early 90s, but I did not really give much thought. And I kind of like I just followed the crowd. I said, this is America, yeah, a little bit lefty is not going to hurt. And my wake up moment, I have to say, that's 2020 with most of us.
Ooh. Yeah. I
Yeah,
think a lot of people woke up, especially when they shut
yes.
us in our house and they shut the world down. What did you feel when you started seeing them closing the door, closing the borders, closing people in their homes, saying who have to wear a
China,
mask? Woo.
that's what I'm thinking. China, and I'm thinking about communist. By then, and then also, okay, if you shut us all down, lock us up, that's one thing. And then Floyd died, and then we said it's okay. It's okay to go out and have demonstrations. It's okay to be with big crowds because the virus of racism is more dangerous than COVID. I
Woo.
said, this is BS.
Yep.
This is absolutely BS. And so I don't think that I woke up at 2020, but it is in 2020 that I determined to take action. I said, I cannot sit aside and just watch and just complain at home. And that's 2020. I decided to do something. And for the first time ever in my life, I participated in political rallies. Never did I do that. Never ever. I did it. I went to DC 3 times for Trump's rally, and then I participated. I joined the local Republican committee,
Mm-hmm.
and that's when I later on in 2021 got the notice from the committee to go to school and to go to the school board meeting and to voice our concerns about what's going on in school. By then, news came out of Loudoun County School, and they were pushing racism, they're pushing CRT and all that. And that's when I did. And I went there, and that's the beginning of my, I call it accidental activist life. That's 2021. And but since then, it's accidental. I have to say, I did not plan to become a public speaker, to to be interviewed on TV. My goodness, I never can even dream about it. But it's not my choice. I I feel like I was chosen to tell the story and to American people, to sound the alarms to American people that this is nothing new. This is not. It is not because I experienced twice. You know, I lived through once when I was young, and here again. It's the same thing. It's Marxist revolution,
Uh,
and so
a lady
that's my
named
story.
No, we gonna keep talking. A lady named Belinda want to know: did you leave any siblings behind when you was over there?
Yeah, my whole family is behind. Yes, yes. And when I said yes to the Fox News when they want to interview me after my uh, speech in the school board, I had to think about so many things. I think about my family in China. I also have to think about myself,
Mm-hmm.
my family here. I think about my job. But back then, at that time, it was still a lot of conservatives
Mm-hmm.
were attacked. And some of the activists went to their home,
Yep.
all sorts of crazy things going on. I have to think about it. But I did not have much time to think because I have to tell them yes or no for an interview. And so I said, you know what? Yes, because if we lose America, nothing matters. So that's how I think. I came all this way for freedom, and
Mm-hmm.
now our freedom is slipping through our fingers, and I have to do something. I have to say yes. I was not even ready. I was not even ready to talk to anyone, and but I said yes. And I have to say this. I'm very grateful to American people. And then they said, who is this woman? And she can't even speak smoothly. And I couldn't. I mean, I'm serious. I couldn't. But they listened to me and then they really supported me and so gave me so much comfort and confidence and so I said, you know what, I'm just going to go on. In 2022 I quit my job and start to write the book that I spent a whole year writing that book, and that book is so well received, and I'm just
Tell
very
us Tell us a little bit
grateful.
about your book, and then before you do that, I want to ask you this because we're finding out about secret police stations, Chinese
Yeah.
secret police stations all around the
Yes.
United States. Have you been threatened? Have you been threatened? Your family, anybody call you and told you to stop talking about it, let it go, and continue to live your life?
Yeah, of course, on the social media, and yes, there were people trying to stop me, and but no, nobody, nothing can stop me right now. I mean,
Amen.
so I have make it my mission to educate Americans and to tell them really, this is communism.
Yes.
This is what I experienced in a different form. And back then in China, we have identity politics, and that's between rich and poor. It's called class struggle.
Yes.
So if your grandparents had property, you are considered the enemy of the state, even though you never
Wow.
saw that property. Just because you're born to a family that used to own property,
Yes.
you're enemy of the state. It's called class. But
Wow.
here,
Mm-hmm.
they just changed a little bit, right? It's by what? By race
By race.
first, by race,
Yes.
right? And that's so much easier than class. And you can't wear your class on your face, but you wear your skin color on your face, and it's so easy to divide people. And then they go divide more
Yes.
by sex, by gender, by whatever. And so they were able to use this intersectionality. So,
Who
and to
do
say
you
who is more oppressed, the more oppressed you are, and actually, the more power you have.
How do you think they even grabbed hold inside of America? What do you think happened?
This is something that a lot of Americans, even I'm talking about myself as
Mm-hmm.
well. I thought this is America. How could this thing really take roots in America? But it did, and it did, and it for a long time. It came in, and okay, the Russian Revolution started in 1917.
Okay.
Okay, that's the first. communist country in the world. Do you know when did the Communist USA founded?
What, our nation?
1919.
Ooh,
1919. Right after. And do you know when was Chinese Communist Party founded
no,
in China?
no.
1921.
They was back to
So
back to back. So who was planning all this? If somebody correlated all of this together in order.
now, yes, there's some, but also there are just a lot of people just joined to this idea. And what is this idea? This idea of communism is a utopia vision of a new world. And they believe that a few people, we give them power, that somehow they can make this world a better world,
Wait, wait,
a
wait,
more fair.
wait. Nope, nope. You're talking about the World Economic Forum now. That's what it
I'm
sounds.
talking about all those who want
All of
power.
it.
And I'm talking about, yes, right now it is the WEF, but it's not just them. And usually from the very beginning, a lot of people just track to this idea. Rather than giving people the opportunity, the equal opportunity to thrive, they want to have the power to say who deserves what, who can have what. And that is the attraction of communism. And of course, they have no shortage of followers because they promise their followers what?
Money.
Free stuff,
Yep.
right? Free stuff, free everything. Everything is human rights. We only have rights
Why
to
it
what?
sound like you talking about the last 4 5 years where everything was promised to everyone, and as long as you
Yes.
did, woo, okay, yeah, we could see
What
it.
do we have? We only have rights to life, liberty,
And the
and the
pursuit of
pursuit of
happiness.
happiness. Now everything is a right. Healthcare is a right. No, anything that require other people's work, other people's money is not a right. I mean, everything, education is a right. It's not a right.
It's not
It's
right.
not a right. It's a privilege that we taxpayers pay for it. And so that the entitlement is the attraction to communism. There are just so many people just feel like the government should take care of me. Well, they will, and eventually they will slave you because
Yes.
they control everything. And when they control you, you have no say. And they say in a capitalist country, you go hungry if you don't work. But in a communist country, you'll go hungry if you don't obey. Obey.
That is
That's all
true.
about control.
And you got to think about it because they was closing down small moms and pop shops.
Yeah.
They stop you from going anywhere from state to state. They wanted to ID you. They wanted to make sure you had a card saying you was vaccinated or not. They
Yeah.
required who was essential and who wasn't because it was
You
for
see?
our
See?
greater good.
It's all about control. Control by who? By a few, right? They
Yes.
determine who is what business is essential, who can do what, and so everyone must do this. No one can not follow this rule. That is communism. That is absolutely the opposite of freedom. And as a lot of people feel like, they would rather give up some freedom, security, but in the end, they get neither. Neither. That's what happened in China. So in the end, you become a serf.
Because if you give up a little bit of your rights, you will never get them back. They will
You never get them
never
back.
get relinquish those
That's
rights.
right.
So I don't see how the class or caste system that's working will ever fit into the mold of what a constitutional republic is. Because
Yes.
if I feel like, what do you feel would have happened if Donald Trump wouldn't have won?
Oh my God. I don't know. I think I feel like this was our last chance. If he did not win, I think that's it. That will be it. We will never have another fair election, and we will have on the surface where everything is still kind of normal. We still have Republicans and Democrats. We still have the election, but everything is controlled. everything is controlled and everything is just a performance. And then by then we have no say. We had no say for the past decades. We had no idea where our money
Nope.
was used and where it went. Now we started to see,
And they're
right?
trying to shut them down, though. They're trying to shut down Elon
I,
Musk. They're trying to shut
yeah,
down President Trump just for revealing the truth because we wanted that transparency and we want to know where our money went. And now you got these judges that are coming out here and
I know.
actually
I'm trying
trying
to
to
stop it.
tell President Trump what to do. And that's they don't have that power.
Yeah. But at least for now, I think more and more people are waking up. They start to see how corrupt our government is. It's because we give it too much power. We give more power and they want more power and they promise more. And this is why I'm so passionate about my mission. I want to tell American
Go ahead,
people
go ahead, go
that's
ahead.
the exact what this Communist Party promised the Chinese people. Give me power, I'll take care of you.
Okay,
And
you
they
got to talk
made
about
all
your
of us
book.
into.
You got to talk about your book because just reading a little bit of it, I was mind blown that you got all this knowledge, and it's a 40-minute segment. But can you tell us about your books? Because I'm sitting here like you got more than one book. You've been out here, you've been talking for a while, and you've been really getting trying to get American citizens to wake up to what could truly happen to America if they don't. Tell us about your book.
Yeah, I wrote this book just to make this parallel, make this comparison of these two cultural revolutions that I personally lived through. One was the Mao's Cultural Revolution, and one is the Marxist Cultural Revolution in America. And I go by, just comparing exactly what happened then and what happened now. And my message is clear. This is history
Mm.
repeating. And people need to know there's nothing new under the sun. This is a repeat of the history, and that we have to wake up. And how do we fight back? I
Yeah.
know people ask me all the time, how do we fight? I think before we can fight back, we have to understand. And so we have to learn the history, understand what we're fighting against. So that's my book is about.
Okay, you just can't finna give a synopsis. What's on chapter one?
You got to get the book and read it.
The links for the chat are in the book. Or the links for the book are in the chat.
Yeah, because we want to know. Because I was sitting here, God want us. God wins in the end. And Melissa said, "God bless you, Doctor." And she gave you Doctor, but I'm just gonna say Miss Van Fleet because I'm not gonna tap your name. Over here it says Hitler started in the schools. Where you seeing the tide with you in your school when they closed it down for 2 years and you decided to come back to the fourth grade? You graduated, you left, and then they put you on the countryside. How do you see the parallel between the schooling in America and then the schooling in China? Do you see any
A
parallel?
brainwash. And I told you that I could not think. I never questioned anything. And anything that, any thing I was told, I believed it because I had no idea that they were not true. And so it's because they control the school, they control the information, and they control our mind in China. And I see the same thing happening here. We have already see that in America that the school were controlled by Marxists. The university were controlled by
Mm-hmm.
Marxists. The media is controlled by Marxists. They work just like the CCP's China. They control the information and then they control the mind of the young people and everybody else. Because if you still watch the mainstream media, well, you have been brainwashed, you have been lied to,
A long
and
time.
just like what happened in China.
And with this one, with the brainwashing, one thing they did do, they closed us in our house, they shut us up. But what they didn't do, and this is where they failed in my eyes, they left the knowledge out here. They left all the information out here. We couldn't move, we couldn't leave our house, we couldn't talk to each other, but we could get on the internet. We didn't necessarily have to watch the lame stream. And when they started seeing
I
that a
know.
lot of people was waking up trying to dig for the information, they made sure across the board to start attacking anybody with a different ideology who didn't trust the government, who didn't trust Fauci, who didn't want to take that shot. So they decided to go ahead and start attacking people, like you said, brown shirts. I call them Antifa. Black Lives Matter. They started rioting in the street. But one thing I think it really made a lot of people mad. You're saying that we can't go to a funeral. You're saying we
I
can't go
know.
to
You
a,
can't see your sick parents or grandparents.
but you
Yeah,
can
just
burn
like
down a
China.
business. But you can burn down a business. You can destroy
Yeah.
homes. You can go
Hmm.
out there and praise, Saint Fentanyl. You can make sure that you can kneel in the Capitol. All this stuff. I don't understand how in the world they thought, or our government thought, that all of us as a collective whole American citizens with different cultures involved, they could take us over that easily. And thank God that a lot of people
Yeah,
started waking up like you.
but I have to tell you, I was surprised. I thought Americans won't take this. And I was surprised how many of them were willing to obey. Not
Mm-hmm.
only obey, they report their neighbors, right?
Yep.
We did we see that? They report their coworkers, and that is disheartening. That it means, and you say, oh, communism will never succeed here. Yeah,
Yeah, it
and
is.
well, if we don't fight back, because brainwash is powerful. When people were brainwashed, they can't think straight. They just become just follower, obey the order. Because that's something else we have to understand. Communism is a weapon of mass deception.
Whoa. Okay.
I
Go.
know some my friend just used that, come up with that term. I think it's perfect. It's a weapon of mass deception because it tells you what? It's good for you. It's good for you. We're doing this all for your own good
The greater
and for the
good. For the greater good. It's for the greater good.
greater good. Yeah. It always sounds so wonderful. And we do DI. Why we do DI? Because we want to help the marginalized people. And who are marginalized? Well, they decide, right? You can be black, and if you're conservative, you don't
Yeah,
count.
no, you don't get nothing. Wait a minute. They weren't even giving Chinese people, Chinese Americans. They wasn't giving them help either because
No,
it only benefited, you ready for this? Gay, white, lesbians.
no. You're not correct. If you are gay and if you are conservative, no,
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 oh,
not for
that's
you.
true. You got to be a liberal. You got to be a
It's
liberal.
all about the ideology. It's never about identity. They
Ooh.
use that as a tactic. No, I know you probably have the same experience. You are just, it doesn't count. You're not
Okay.
real black
I'm not a
because
real. How you
you
know
are
that?
conservative, right? I'm not a real
That's
Chinese
true.
because I am conservative. And
Well, your president
it's
tell
all about
he didn't
mind
say
control.
you. He looked at me and said, "Hey, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black."
I know. That's exactly what they think. And so it's all about mind control. And the others are all tactics and tactics. So and then we know that one of our major problems is the white liberals, right? The white liberals.
True.
Why they follow this BS? Because they want to feel good. They want to feel like they are noble. They want to feel like they know how to help the poor people, the people who can't help themselves.
Yes.
And so, yeah, communism actually attracted all sorts of people who want free stuff and people who want to feel superior. And that's why they do this virtue signaling. They want to feel virtuous. And so that's why it's not easy. It's not all that easy to identify communism because it appears to be and it sounds to be really appealing. And it looks like it's a good thing. But the goal is control.
Yes.
The goal is eventually have power, control all of us. The rest is all tactics.
We got 2 minutes left. Tell us how to stop it. You got to come back on. This was 40 minutes and it feels like 10. So that this 10-minute interview went by fast. You got to tell us what can we. You got 2 minutes. How do we even begin to stop this?
I said that. The first
No.
thing is to understand it. You have to understand before you can fight
But we
back.
can't
And
understand it in 40 minutes. We got to understand it. We can't understand anything in 40 minutes. We
Buy her book. We'll
Oh,
Read my book, and also we have to get organized. You
yes.
can't just understand and stay home and stand behind the screen and just tweet something. No, you have to get organized. You have to go to school board. You start with local. Local is the most important thing.
Okay.
And know who your school board members are, and know what their policies they are pushing, and and work and together with the other conservatives, get the right people in, start local.
All right, you got okay then. So everybody, because I'm gonna let you in this, I want you to plug your website where people can follow you, your Twitter tag, Facebook, social media, any of that. And I'm not. This is Miss Van Fleet. So go ahead and take it away. Let everyone know where they can buy your book, where they can watch you, donate to you, follow you, everything.
Yeah, my book can be found anywhere major. The books are sold like Barnes and Noble and Amazon, probably the easiest place. The title is Mao's America. Mao is Mao Zedong. Mao's America, a survivor's warning. And I don't do much on my website, but I do tweet every day on X.
Okay.
So follow me. It's XVANFLEET. And I tweet so that I can educate Americans. So that is my mission. And that's, I think I have been able to reach to a lot of people, and a lot of people constantly give me feedback that learn so much about communism. And that's what we're fighting against. We're not fighting against Democrats, my friend. No, we're fighting against communism.
Thank you so much, everybody. Y'all stay tuned. We'll be right back. Go ahead, Dave. Are you a voting member of the NRA? My name is Lucretia Hughes NRA. I will never compromise my beliefs in God, family, our country, and my Second Amendment. I am running for the board of directors of the NRA, and I would appreciate your vote.